Hey bros, I'm Frank. This is another episode of Versus. In this episode, we're covering the Slingfire and the Air Warrior Sentinel. Before we compare the differences, let's go over the similarities. These blasters are very, very similar. Both are spring-powered, magazine-fed, lever-action blasters of pretty similar dimensions. As I've covered, both of these blasters take each other's ammo and each other's magazines, so you can switch these mags and ammo, which is pretty cool. So fewer differences between these because of course they are very similar, but let's get into the differences, starting out with the Slingfire. First pro of the Slingfire, it has a much lighter prime than that of the Sentinel. It takes less effort to prime this blaster, and because of that, it's a bit more comfortable. Of course, that comes with the consequence of a lowered velocity, but it's still a pro for some people. And connected to that, because it has a lower prime and it's also more comfortable, you can go a little bit faster, so it has a quicker rate of fire. Again, a consequence of a lowered velocity because it's a weaker spring, but it's still a pro for some people who might not need to shoot super fast or far, just really quick rate of fire. And the last pro, the Slingfire, which is completely subjective, appearance. I think it looks a lot cooler than the Sentinel. The Sentinel is very basic, and this has all the cool shell stuff, and it also has the tactical rail up top. That's all of the major pros. Again, these blasters are very similar, so that's it for the Slingfire. Now going over the pros of the Air Warrior Sentinel. First and foremost, performance. This blaster shoots a lot harder than the Slingfire. This is averaging 80 to 85 feet per second initial velocity compared to the Slingfire's 70 or maybe 65 feet per second. That's a noticeable velocity increase. When you shoot the Sentinel, it feels more powerful, you shoot the darts faster, and it's a big enough difference so you can see it. You don't need a chrono to realize this one shoots harder. Anybody picks it up and kind of sees it right away. And that's actually the biggest pro, in my opinion, of the Sentinel compared to the Slingfire, because they're so similar. So which is better, the Slingfire or the Sentinel? In my opinion, the Sentinel. I'm usually a Hasbro and Nerf fanboy, but the Sentinel's performance blew me away. It shoots a lot harder than the Slingfire. The biggest con is the less comfortable priming handle, but that of course is because it has a stronger spring inside, so you're putting in more energy. This is softer, easier to prime, but that is overshadowed by the better performance out of the Sentinel. If the Sentinel had a proprietary magazine, I would probably go in favor of the Slingfire, but because you can buy the Sentinel, and if you don't like the mags or you don't like the ammo, you can throw in Nerf gear, I don't think there's any reason to buy the Slingfire now because of the Sentinel's presence in the Nerf market. That is, of course, if you're performance-based Nerfer. This one looks kind of odd, and I do like the appearance of the Slingfire again, but the performance, hands down, I'd pick the Sentinel every time. So that is the comparison of the Nerf Zombie Strike Slingfire and the Air Warrior Sentinel, and of course this is just my opinion, and you're welcome to disagree. That's this episode of Versus. If you have any blasters or topics you'd like to see compared, leave a comment in the section below. As always, thanks for watching, and remember, stay tactical.